Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to spend a moment or two to welcome all the new subscribers to our channel. Over the last couple of months, we've had a couple of thousand people join, which is absolutely amazing. And Ali and I are truly humbled by the support that we get. And we're really happy to have you aboard to come and join us for our adventure as we travel around Australia. The other thing I want to talk to you about is Ali and I have come back to Brisbane for the next 6 weeks to 2 months or so. I need to have some surgery, and after that I'll need some time to recover. You shouldn't notice too much of a difference in the channel because we did film enough content over the last few months to fill in the next couple of months. Where you might notice a difference is that if you ask a question or you put a comment up on one of our social media platforms, I might not get back to you straight away. I might not get back to you for maybe a week or two. Please don't be annoyed. I'm just in recovery mode. I want to be strong and fit, but when I am, I'll be back and champing at the bit, ready to go again. Anyway, all that aside, on today's episode, Ali and I continue our adventure down the Stuart Highway en route to Alice Springs, and we stop at some truly amazing free camps on the sides of the highway. Free camps that we think that you're absolutely going to love. So why don't you go and get yourself a cold drink and get your feet up for the next 20 minutes or so. Come and join Ali and I for the adventure. Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Alison.
We decided a couple of years ago that we'd work hard and save all of our money and start living life on our own terms.
So we bought a caravan and hit the road on a trip for two all around Australia.
So why not come and join us every week for our adventures? Coming to the township of Larrimah. It's famous for its pies, and it's also it was on a Netflix series, wasn't it, Al?
It was on a Netflix series.
It was quite an infamous murder out here. I think the coroner ruled it a murder. They never actually caught the person. But it is one of the towns in Australia that has a very small population. So I think it's only like about 10 people of the general population. Anyway, we'll go for a drive out there into town and have a look around.
Head west on Mahoney Street towards Pearson Place.
So here's the historic pink pub in Larrimah. It's also the caravan park too, I think, or the start of the caravan park.
Yes.
Directly across the road from the pink pub or the Larrimah Hotel, you'll find the Larrimah Museum. It's closed today. Let's give you a quick look around. There's plenty of old rail stuff here. It's a part of a plane. I'm not exactly sure what part it is or what plane it come off, but it's certainly there. And there's some remnants of the old telegraph line that used to run through here. So we showed you the Gorrie Airfield as a free camp, but this is what it looked like back in the day. It's the only picture I could find of it. This is at the Larrimah Museum. It's pretty cool.
One of the largest and busiest military bases in the Pacific during WW2.
Jeez, you wouldn't know it today. As usual, I was wrong. The museum is open. You just come down, open the door and walk in. It's pretty interesting. There's lots of information about the town from its foundation and the different roles it's undertaken throughout the many years that it's been here. But yeah, plenty of good info. And as Alison said, this was the site of the 45 Camp Hospital during the war, so there's a lot of remnants and particularly photos of that time. So yeah, it's very interesting. When you come into the museum, you'll find the remnants of the old repeater station that was here for the telegraph station. It's very interesting. There's a couple of old mortar bombs hanging up there, but they're inerts because they're painted blue. Well, hopefully someone never painted them blue. The yard at the front of the museum is quite interesting with a lot of old artefacts in it. This is a big chunk of aeroplane. I don't know what chunk it is or what sort of plane it come off. There's nothing here to tell you about that, but certainly an interesting piece to have in your front yard. There's lots of old aircraft engine and stuff. I imagine these are all leftovers from the war because the Gorrie Airfield's only 10 k's up the road. There's also some rail, I don't know what they call those, wheels. And yeah, just some other interesting equipment. You will know Larrimah from the series that Netflix put up about the murder that happened here in 2017. But it doesn't take too long when you come into Larrimah, does it, Al, to realise that it's much more than that Netflix series. Like, there's so much more history here to come and see.
Definitely. It played a huge part in WW2 and the railway history as well. It's quite interesting to come and read and see it.
It definitely is, it definitely is. So we'll take you a little bit of walk around town, give you a quick look at the caravan park, and then we're going to head on to our night location. This is the remains of the old railway junction that was here. There's some old equipment that still lays around today, which it's interesting to come and have a look at. This is the caravan park in Larrimah. It's a great little stop. You're probably about 100 kilometres south of Manaranka here, or just under 100 kilometres. But yeah, if you're going to come and stop, power and water, I think it's about $30 a night, but I'll drop in the price if I'm wrong. So this is the Larrimah Hotel, little oasis in the desert. Well, good morning. We got in a little bit late last night, so didn't film anything. We just stopped and we had a little bit of dinner. But Ali and I have come to another free camp on our way down the Stuart Highway en route to Alice Springs. This one's called Newcastle Waters South. Now there are two camps at Newcastle Waters. There's north and south. We stopped at north first, but it was absolutely chock-a-block. And the only reason I think it was chock-a-block is because there's toilets up there. We come down to south, and this is huge, this area down here. There was probably about another 10 vans in last night. We could only see 2 of them, but we could hear people all over the place. So this isn't a bad one here, but no facilities. So you are in fact in a big gravel pit when you come here. But here's our spot. We're not too far away from the highway, but far enough away so the noise is quite muffled at night. In fact, it was very, very quiet last night. But you can see all the open area as we go around. And this is only one section. Over on the other side of the trees over there would have been about 5 or 6 cars in there in a group last night, plus a caravan. There was more vans up and around the back, and there was vans on the other side of us down in here. So really large area. I saw a couple of places to hit if you do want to stop here. Bring your firewood if you want to have a fire. I saw a couple of blokes walking around last night butting their head against trees because they couldn't find any firewood anywhere. I suppose you get that with these popular sorts of camps because everybody's already been through here and scoured it all out. Anyway, just another free camp as you make your way south or north on the Stuart Highway. When we get around, we see some big wide loads, but I don't think we've seen one wider than this. This looks like a mining bucket, I think. 6.5 metres, check this out. That is huge.
There's a big...
Yeah, it's the back of a dump truck, look at it. It's enormous. Brand new one too. Well, we left our overnight location. We stayed up at Sam's Fine. I didn't film anything up there last night because we changed that before, but I am going to drop in some pictures of last night's sunset because they were pretty spectacular.
It's pretty good.
We're on our way down now. We're passing through Tennant Creek. We're not going to stay here. We're on our way to another campsite, probably about another 80 k's down the road, which is a free camp. I'll show you that when we get down there. But we are going to stop here and get some fuel. We did come through 3 ways, but the fuel up there is about 30 to 40 cents dearer a litre, and I think we've told you that before. So we'll go down here. It's under $2 a litre, and then we'll continue on with our day. Well, here we are at our next free camp on our way down to Alice Springs. This one's called Bonnywell's Rest Area. It's located about 90 kilometres south of Tennant Creek. We stopped in at Tennant Creek yesterday and just topped everything off with fuel so we could get down to Alice. The reason we use Tennant Creek is because it is heaps cheaper than filling up at 3 ways. So down we come. We got here last night, probably at about 4 o'clock or something like that. We just kicked back. Had a couple of drinks, watched the sunset. It was absolutely beautiful here. I'll cut in some pictures of what that looked like. And then this morning's sunrise was equally as beautiful. So the remains of the old well are here. Now I can't give you any information on that because the sign is practically unreadable because of the sun damage that it's had. But the old Comet windmills here is just a really nice setting. The one thing I will say about this camp, and a lot of camps or rest areas that you get as you come down towards Alice Springs from Darwin, is they are very close to the road, and yes, you do get some road noise, but for the majority of the time it all dies out by about 8 o'clock at night, and it doesn't really kick off again until about 6 next morning, so you get a decent night's sleep. The odd truck will go by, and at this particular site the odd train goes by, but other than that it's a great place to stop and rest, as are so many other camps along the way on the Stuart Highway. So here's the spot that we picked at Bonnie Wells. We've just put ourselves over there by the old water trough, and you can see the remains of one of the old water tanks that was here, and of course the big Comet windmill, which is absolutely fantastic. It creaks and it groans and it moves around, but it's just a wonderful setting to come and sit in. Here's some more of the camp area. There's plenty of room to get vans in here, camper trailers, all the gear that you might bring when you come away travelling. There's a few fireplaces, and they also have a receptacle here where you can get some firewood, or people store firewood that you can get a little bit to use for your fire. Over here you can see there's the turnaround point. We saw a lot of cars parked in here last night. The one thing I will say though is that a lot of the bins here are absolutely chock-a-block, but people continue to just put their bags of rubbish either in the bin so the birds can get it, or you can see just over here in front of me, they start putting the bags of rubbish next to the bin. You know, if they're full, just carry it with you to the next site. And finally, a lot of the roadside stops that we see when we have been travelling along the Stuart Highway, they all have water tanks. This is a perfect example of one here. They do give a warning sign on to say that the water may not be suitable for drinking, but we do see people take water out to do their washing up and those sorts of things. So if it's here, you may as well use it. I just suggest that you probably didn't drink it. Okay, so the plan for today is Ali's just going to finish off a little bit of work she's got to do in the van, and that'll get her clear until next week sometime. And then we're going to hook everything up, and we're going to head a little bit further down the Stuart Highway, probably about 20 minutes or so, to the Devil's Marbles. We'll take you along for that. We'll check those out, and then we're going to head down to our final free camp, which is located about 120k south of us at the moment, at a place called Geoffies Camp, which looks really, really nice on Wiki Camps. I'm quite excited to get down there and check it out. So Ali and I have come down to the day use area and just parked our van off the side of the road here. We're going to go for a bit of a walk around the marbles now. You can camp here if you weren't aware of that. You've got to book all your camping through NT's website, or NT Camping website, to come and stay in the national parks. But it's a beautiful place. Anyway, I'll give you a bit of a look around. Just here's the split boulder that you see on just about, I think, every channel that's ever showed the Devil's Marbles. It's probably launched 1 million Instagram photos, but it's well worth having a look at. It's huge. Looks a lot bigger in real life than what it does when you watch it on the telly, I can assure you that. This massive boulder here looks precariously balanced on the side of the rock here, doesn't it, El?
It does.
It's huge. It'd easily be the size, bigger than a bus. Bigger than a bus, it's just sitting there balancing on its end. It's fantastic. It's a great little walk when you come to walk around the Devil's Marbles. There's a few flies, they're very, very friendly at the moment. But yeah, get some great views of this ancient rock formation. And it's a really easy walking track to negotiate as you go around. Okay, if you've ever driven on the New England Highway and you've gone through your rally, you see a sign that just says balancing rock, and as soon as you look to your left, you see a rock balancing on top of another one. But that pales in comparison to this. Check out the size of this rock. So to give you a reasonably accurate description, that would be as big as the prime mover, or like a Mack truck, and it's probably balanced on about, I reckon, a surface area of about maybe 3 feet wide at absolute maximum. But that is absolutely huge. It's amazing to see. See underneath the rocks here with the sparrows. I think the sparrows have made their nest. There's actually a couple that is sitting around here. There's one that's sitting right on top of that rock there. I saw him fly out from underneath these rocks, so I just assume that that's the creature or the bird that nests in here. There's another nest there. How cool is that? Okay, so the next walk we're going to do is the Mai Jungu walk, and this takes us up to the lookout on top of the marbles that are just here in front of us. So it should be great. It's about a 30-minute loop, they reckon, and it's an easy walk. You can see that the ground here is really gravelly sorts of sand, but that's just where all the boulders over thousands or millions of years have eroded down and created this surface. Okay, so as I said, we're going to head up to the lookout, but we'll give you a look at the campground while we're around there. When you come around from the sign that says lookout, you'll come to this sign, and when you see this sign, you can see a blue arrow up there on the rock. You just follow that and that'll take us up over the rocks up to the lookout. So we'll head up there and check it out. So we're still on our way up to the lookout. It's a pretty easy walk. You just come up over the rocks. We're doing it in thongs, it's not that hard. But as we've come up, you can see there's more rock formations here, and you can see the split that's starting in these rocks. So they've actually split right in two, but nowhere near as big as the rock that we saw earlier. Just coming up onto the top of the lookout. Now it's important to note that I think this is the only rocks that the national parks allow you to actually climb upon, but I think it's going to be well worth it. Ali and I have just come to the top of the lookout, and when we've looked at the Devil's Marbles on YouTube or on TV before, they've only ever appeared to be quite small, haven't they? There's not a lot here.
No, you don't really get the perspective.
No, you don't. And pretty much all you see is what's in front of me. I'm not going to turn the camera around just yet, but I will show you because we're on top of the lookout now. From here you get almost 360-degree view, but they're sprawled out over such a large area, and they're absolutely amazing to see. I'll show you where we normally see. So if you have a look over there, that's the day use area. So you can see all the buses and things parked over there, and people go for a bit of a walk around those rocks, and that was the first walk that we've done. But when you come to the top of the lookout, it opens up the rest of the field. Check this out over here. That is enormous. And then as I come around, you can just see that the boulders are scattered over, I want to say quite a few kilometres here, but it's a beautiful place to come and visit. It's certainly well worth it. Well, Ali and I got pretty lucky because we've been up here on the lookout for about 10-15 minutes or so, and we've got it all to our own. Let's flick it through here, you'll be able to see through the trees. Some tour buses pulled up there in the car park, and there is herds of people wandering up here now. So we've got exactly the right time to come up. You might think about timing your run when you come up here too. Well, we hope you enjoyed that quick look around the Devil's Marbles. We're going to head over now to the campground, and we'll show you where you can set up camp over here. I think, and don't quote me, I think it's about $15 per person per night, so $30 for a couple. I'm not sure what it is for kids, but you can check all that on the NT's website because that's where you've got to go and book to come in. From what I've read online, the ranger does come down here, and he does issue on-the-spot fines for people who try and camp for free. Okay, so this is the campground area. And as I said before, I think it's about $15 per person per night, but it's right here at the base of the lookout, for want of a better term. Great little spot to come and camp. I reckon the stars will be amazing out here, and they reckon the sunrises and sunsets are certainly something to see. So you can see all the caravans down here in the camping area at the moment, and some roof-toppers and that sort of gear over there. Where we are now is for those RV type vehicles, well, judging by the photo anyway. Anyway, all the sites are numbered, and you do have to book via a site number to come in. They're not the biggest sites in the world, and up here where the RVs go, this ground is not level in any direction. When you come up, there's a couple of fire pits. There's also a camp common area, and there's an information board area on the other side. Check out that one there. It looks like a big bloody potato sitting up there on top of the rocks. It's massive. Okay, well, that was our walk around the Devil's Marbles. What do you think, Elle?
I really enjoyed it. It was definitely bigger than I had thought it was going to be.
Oh, certainly. We've been looking at it now on TV and on YouTube for a couple of years, and we always knew we were going to come here, but we had no idea of how big it was and how big these boulders are. They're absolutely enormous.
Yes, they are.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed that. We're going to continue our day further south now. We're going to head down towards Barrow Creek to a campsite which is called Geoffies Camp. That should be pretty good, so we'll make our way down to there and give you a bit of a look around. Well, here we are at our final free camp on our way between Darwin and Alice Springs, and I've got to say the experience over the last 5 or 6 days has been absolutely fantastic. We stayed in such a diversity of locations as we've come down. What's really good about it is that there's so many campsites that we drove past, you could never do the same trip twice. You can always got somewhere that you can stop. But I've got to say, this one here, Geoffies Camp, just outside of Barrow Creek, is particularly good. Not only because I've got a bit of a sausage sizzle going here for lunch, but check out the view. All these big mountains that tower around us here, it's absolutely beautiful. And I can see that when the sun drops, because the sun's hitting them now, that they're just going to light up this afternoon. Just over here behind us, there's Ellie. Just over here behind us, you can see where the range falls off, and that looks like about the line the sun's going to come down and set, so that should be pretty spectacular. But anyway, Al and I will get on with our lunch. We'll come back to you and watch the sunset a little bit later on. Well, good morning. I hope you enjoyed the pictures of the stars that we put up for you last night. This is our final camp that we have on our way down to Alice Springs. It's been a great adventure coming down the Stuart Highway, hasn't it, Al?
It has been a good adventure. I've really enjoyed the free camping and stopping at the places along the way. It's been quite interesting.
Yeah, we sort of planned our trip so we didn't have to travel too far every day, although we did travel, what, maybe about 200 kilometres on average per day. It was somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think one day we did a bit of a bigger stint, but on
Yeah.
average 200 k's, yeah.
But we gave ourselves plenty of time to have a bit of a look around, go back for a swim as you saw in Catherine, go back for a swim as you saw in Manaranka. So
that was good.
Yeah, we had plenty of chance to do that again on our way down. And the other thing that we noticed was there's just so many free camps as you come along the Stuart Highway. Your options are limitless for the different ways you can mix up your, future trips into Darwin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you want to be economical, there's stacks, and it's safe. It really is safe. I didn't feel worried at all.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. Anyway, I think that's a good way to end today's episode, particularly this beautiful background we got behind us here of the Davenport Ranges. If you like today's episode, please hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so because it allows our channel to grow. And finally, if you've got any questions or comments about today's episode, hit us up in the comments section and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But until next Saturday, you guys have yourselves a great week and we'll see you then.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.